Hey middle school students, trying to keep busy? Here's a little build-up project for you that has a little bit of design, a little bit of hands-on work, and a lot of fun. Today we're going to be building a little air rocket. Looks like this, very small, and the only things that you need to build this rocket are a piece of paper, some scissors, and some tape. Hopefully most of you have those things at home. If you have a straw, that will also help, but not necessary, not totally necessary. A pen can also double as a straw, and I'll show you how to do that. Let's get started. So the first thing to do is to start off with your piece of paper, and you're going to decide how tall or how long you want your rocket to be. Now, there's three different ways to launch it. If you happen to have a straw, that is very handy. If you don't have a straw but you have a pen, something like this, you can actually take this pen apart, take the end off and take the other end out, and then you essentially have a straw that you can use as well. And I'll also show you a third way to do this without needing a straw. But let's go for the straw first. So I'll line my straw up something like that. This is about how long I want my rocket to be. You can make a little short one, you can make a really long one, but the end of the straw has to stick out a little bit. You can just take your pen, make a little mark there, if your pen works, just to indicate where you're going to cut it. And you're going to cut about halfway through the paper. Yeah, you don't have to get this exactly right, and you'll see why in a moment. Great, now that you have your piece of paper ready for your rocket tube, take some tape. You can use this or masking tape, duct tape, whatever you have lying around, and just get yourself a few pieces ready so that you don't have to mess around with taking the tape off the roll while you're trying to hold your rocket body. I'm just going to stick those on my scissors right there so that they're at the ready. Then I'm going to take my piece of paper and I'm going to roll it around the straw, just like this. And holding it, I'm just going to make sure that the straw slides easily. If not, you can just make it just a little bit looser. You just let go of it just a hair until the straw, there you go. Okay, then I'm going to take my tape and hold it closed. Looks like that. Excellent. A little third piece on there for that piece in the middle. Good. Now we have our rocket tube. If you don't have a straw and you want to just use a pen tube, exactly the same thing. It's a little shorter, so you might just have to make your rocket body just a little bit shorter so that some still sticks out the end. And if you don't have either of these things, let me show you what you can do. If you don't have a straw or a pen tube, you can take a pencil, hopefully you have one of these or something similar, and just make your launcher actually out of paper and tape. So you can take a pencil and do the same rolling so that you get yourself a tube. Roll it up, tape it closed, just like you would have done with the rocket body. And this time make sure there's tape all the way up and down so that you get a good, and you might even put tape all the way around it as well on the back side so that you get a nice smooth tube. Now the pencil comes out, And now this becomes your launch tube. And so you could then take now to make your rocket body, you then put it around that piece of paper like that. So instead of using a straw or a pen tube, you're actually just using paper for the inside and the outside, like that. And so now this becomes, the inside tube becomes my launch tube, and the outside tube becomes my rocket. Just another way to do it. All right, let's move on. Okay, so I'm going to go back to using the straw, but you can use whichever tube you've made. So with your launch tube, which would be the straw, you're going to back it off just a little bit so that it's just a little bit inside, like that. And then you're going to fold the end over. This is so that no air is going to escape. And it's also going to make it a little more durable. Take that, put a piece of tape over the end, fold it in, do the best you can, and then take another piece of tape and just go around it like that. So now it should look like that. It should slide easily on and off the straw, and the end is blocked off. Rocket body done. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to make some fins. Now, most rockets have fins unless they have directional motor controls. The fins are designed to keep the rocket flying straight. If the rocket is flying in this direction and it starts veering this way, then these two fins provide air resistance and they push it back so that it's straight. If it goes this way, same thing happens again. That's how fins work. Most rockets that you see will have 3 or 4 fins. I made 3 for this one. 3, you have to sort of separate them by a third. So a third, a third, a third. If you want to do 4, sometimes 4 is a little easier because then you just have to go across from each other and across from each other at 90 degrees to get them evenly spaced. In order to make your fins, you're just going to take a leftover piece of that paper and you're going to cut yourself some little triangles, or honestly whatever shape you want. This is all about experimenting. You can make them in whatever shape you want. I'm just going to cut some little triangles. Whoops. Like that. And that's going to be my 3 fins. Now to attach the fins, I prepped myself 6 pieces of tape like this. I just cut 6 little pieces of tape and stuck them to the edge of my desk for easy pickup and easy access. I'm going to take one of my fins and one of my little pieces of tape and just stick it on there, and then try to keep it straight and stick it on the rocket like that. Fold that fin over and stick a piece of tape on the other side. And after it's on, then you can just kind of bend it straight. Alternately, you could do this with a glue gun. If you had access to a glue gun, you could make the fins out of little pieces of maybe thicker paper or some really thin cardboard, but paper is just fine too. Okay, next fins. And there we are, all done. Okay. If you don't get them evenly spaced, that's not a super big deal. This is just for fun. But yeah, the idea is to have them sort of evenly spaced around. All right. You can decorate it if you want. Otherwise, I'll cut a little bit of extra tape off there. Time for testing. Let's see how it goes. Awesome. Let's see if I can hit the camera. is harder than it looks. Let's see if I can hit the camera. Now, as a bit of an extension, if you want, you can make a launcher for it. I just took a juice container and poked a hole through the cap and just taped the straw in place. I think a plastic water bottle would probably be the best thing to use for this if you have anything like that around, but any container that you can push on like that so that the air is going to come out. Let's go test this out and see if we can get a little more distance. Yeah, wow, that was super fun. It went really far with the Stomp-On launcher there. Using just the straw, I was able to get it maybe 3 or 4 meters, depending on how hard I blew on the straw. But as soon as I made that launcher, and I didn't even stomp on it that hard, and it probably went 10 or 15 meters, and I bet I could have got it to go further. The fun thing with this is that you could make a whole bunch of these, all different lengths, different fins, different decorations. Just play around with it. Maybe you could have a little contest with somebody who's around at your house. You could each make one and see which one goes the furthest. Have fun with it, everybody.